So EVO 2025 is officially in the books, and we got some really great grand finals and cool surprises and reveals at this year's event. So that's what we're going to break down in today's video, the cool stuff that caught my eye at EVO 2025. So full transparency, I love fighting games. I grew up playing them. I've always been enamored by them. The characters, the stages, the music, the lore behind them, the build up and hype to a new fighting game coming out, character reveals, all that fun stuff. But I've never really been good at fighting games, and I wouldn't consider myself super knowledgeable when it comes to the mechanics of fighting games. I like to leave that to the professionals like Maximilian Dude, Justin Wong, FeedX, the pros who have been at this professionally for a very, very long time. So on this channel, when I talk about fighting games, you're not going to see me break down the frame data of a character's moveset. I couldn't tell you what's plus on block. None of that stuff. I just love fighting games. I love the aesthetics, the aura, the overall just hype and excitement around fighting games has always just kind of enamored me, which has transferred over to the FGC. I've always been enamored with the FGC and always kind of felt like an outsider looking in, enjoying this stuff, but it's such a cool community. EVO comes around every year and I always get excited to check it out, see what new reveals are going to be there, what grand finals are going to pop off, what are going to be kind of stale. So that's kind of like my brief history with fighting games, just to give you a heads up. I don't really get into the nitty-gritty of mechanics on this channel. It's not really my forte, and I would really feel like a phony because I'm just genuinely not very good at fighting games, even though I love playing them. So moving into the grand finals talk, I think the two best grand finals this year for me personally were Fatal Fury and Street Fighter 6. Starting off with Street Fighter 6, seeing Mena RD just completely lock in heading into those grand finals. He put on an incredible performance as Blanca. He's like, it's getting late. I ain't got no time to waste. Let's get this over with. And he just put on an incredible performance. And then of course you got Kakaru, who I don't feel too bad for him. His JP was great, but I also think he won the previous Capcom Cup. So the dude's set. I think he won like $1 million. So he's going to be fine, but he also was incredible. But Mena RD was just on a completely different level this year. And seeing him pull out that win was exciting. However, for me, the best grand final had to have been Fatal Fury. ET against Goichi was insane. That back and forth between the two of them had me on the edge of my seat. A lot of people in the crowd were rooting for ET, the underdog, but Goichi just went in there, showed why he's one of the best. But that performance between the two of them, it just kept you guessing. You didn't know who was going to come out on top. It was just so exhilarating and so exciting. I had an absolute blast, and to me, that was the best grand final of EVO 2025. Now, I am a big Tekken fan, but over the past few years, I haven't really enjoyed the Tekken grand finals. There's been a lot of mirror matches, which I'm not a big fan of, but I do want to give a shout out this year to Chikarin, who made it to top 8 with Clive from Final Fantasy. So seeing some Final Fantasy representation at EVO 2025 this year was great. Unfortunately, he didn't make it to grand finals, but seeing Clive there was super cool, and it added some excitement in the hope that maybe there would be a non-mirror match for grand finals, which did end up, being Anna versus Anna, but then it switched to Anna versus Nina, which was nice. But still, I haven't really found myself enjoying Tekken 8 gameplay from a visual standpoint. Watching it over the past couple years, it kind of just ends up turning into the same thing. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the generational crash out from Koji KOG, which from my understanding is a throwback to a match that he had with Goichi like 10 years ago, where he did the very same thing and crashed out. But that performance was so damn funny. Just to see him have fun, with the fact that he lost and he put on this really dramatic crash out performance of losing his mind, I thought was super silly. It's stuff like that at EVO that really kind of stands out and ends up going viral, and everyone's watching it like, who is this dude? What the heck happened? It's just such a funny moment. I loved it. I thought it was funny. And I feel like all of us have been there at some point in time experiencing that type of crash out. It's just hilarious. But moving on to the reveals, we start off with Tekken 8. We knew Armor King was coming, and we knew we were probably going to get the gameplay reveal for Armor King at EVO, and he looks sick. I always loved Armor King and King. I'm a wrestling fan, so seeing a lot of the wrestling moves from them and a lot of the homages the team put into these characters are super cool. Tekken 7 had a lot of homages to Okada. I believe King even had the Rainmaker. He had the Okada gear. Super cool. But Armor King looks sick. He breathes fire. He's got poison mist. He has one of Will Ospreay's finishers, and I think it's Stormbreaker. He just looks mad insane from his moveset to the character design. I love the look of the armor. I love the red mane of hair they gave him. Armor King is just such a sick character, and for the most part, most people seem to be happy to have Armor King. I know that Tekken 8 Season 2 has been a bit of a ride. There's been some unfortunate missteps when it comes to Season 2, and I think there may have been some weird miscommunications between the previous Tekken team and the new team that was going to take over, and Season 2 came out, and a lot of stuff just got changed. A lot of the stuff they were talking about in the Tekken talks didn't quite pan out in the gameplay when the updates actually hit, and from my understanding, the previous Tekken team had to step back in and resume their roles developing for Tekken 8 Season 2 onward. So it's been a bit of a tumultuous period for Tekken 8, but I think they're trying their best to work back into the good graces of a lot of the fighting game community. We also had the new character reveal. I believe the name is pronounced Miari Zu, based on how they said it on stage, and she's the first representative from Madagascar. She looks insane. I gotta be honest, when I first saw the feat, I thought maybe it was gonna be Christy, but nope. Brand new character. She looks super cool. I think she's got a great design, and I'm very curious to see how does she play. What is she gonna bring to Tekken that is different, unique, hopefully fun, and that hopefully really gels with players. Up next, we had Street Fighter 6. Unfortunately, this trailer, I think, did accidentally get leaked a little bit early due to PlayStation's YouTube channel, and that is the Sea Viper reveal. Now, this is cool because back when I was playing Street Fighter 4, I had a bit of a character crisis. I didn't really quite know who I was comfortable with. I always just found myself defaulting to the Shotos like Ryu and Ken, but I never really had that character until I started playing with Sea Viper. I just thought she was cool. I loved her moveset. I loved her look, and I felt pretty comfortable playing as her. So to see her come back in Street Fighter 6, and we knew that she was coming, but I was really excited to see like how are they going to redesign Sea Viper, because everyone has gotten such a cool redesign in Street Fighter 6. Sagat looks super sick and insane, and Sea Viper is no different. She looks phenomenal. The white outfit, the hair, it just looks super cool. But I'm excited to see actual gameplay from her. How are they going to change up her moveset? What's going to stay? What's going to go? But it's really cool to have her back, a character that I, feel really comfortable with and recognize, which could probably get me back into Street Fighter 6. I enjoy watching it, don't play a lot of it. Again, I'm not great at fighting games. I enjoy watching them more than playing them these days because I seem to get worse and worse. But having Sea Viper back, super sick. Up next, we had the return of Virtua Fighter with mostly proper gameplay with Akira versus not Sarah Bryant. I think this is Stella, according to the lore. But what was really interesting is that this gameplay footage took place in an area that most fighting game players hate, and that is the training stage, the standard grid. It's very simple, usually performs the best in fighting games, which is why it gets picked. But the design, I think, of the Virtua Fighter training stage, which I assume is what it is, I think is pretty cool. Instead of a standard wall, you've got a wall of monitors that are bright white, lighting up the arena. You've got the floor, which transforms into a fighting platform, which I think is super dope. So it's got a really cool aesthetic. But seeing the actual proper gameplay, a full match between these two characters, is super sick, and a lot of it is an evolution of what we've been seeing from Virtua Fighter's return, that really cool, stylish, choreographed looking combos, a lot of the dynamic movement and blocking. There's a really cool spot where Akira gets knocked down and Stella goes for a sweep. But instead of the sweep being too far away or just clipping through Akira, Akira does a kip up, avoiding the leg sweep, and then bounces back up, ready to fight. So seeing that is really cool. And again, the VF team said that they really do want to focus on stylish action and combat. That's what's going to probably set their fighting game apart from everyone else. But they also do want to focus on story and character, and I believe they've talked about having a proper story mode to really dive into that stuff, but they've really been drip feeding a lot of VF stuff very slowly since the game was first revealed and coming back. We've gotten just a tiny bit of info on that game, with more to be revealed at this year's Tokyo Game Show, which is something to look forward to. But it's just really cool to see Virtua Fighter come back, and Sega has really put a lot of support and weight behind bringing Virtua Fighter back, supporting it with this new VF, bringing back Virtua Fighter 5 with Revo, just kind of having a celebration again of Virtua Fighter, which I think is super sick. So they're super serious about bringing this franchise back. They want to make sure it's the best it can possibly be. And I think a lot of people are ready for another 3D fighter that isn't Tekken. But circling back to the whole 3D fighter talk, for the longest time, it's really just been Tekken, kind of doing its thing, representing 3D fighters. And now you've got a new one entering the arena. And it's not just any 3D fighter. This is Virtua Fighter, the granddaddy of 3D fighters, making its return, not necessarily to challenge Tekken, but I think it will hopefully create some really healthy competition for Tekken and Virtua Fighter. And I already know Harada is super happy that Virtua Fighter is coming back. He's a big VF fan, so I think he's looking forward to that friendly competition, but I hope that VF being back in that space kind of pushes the Tekken team to really get their stuff together and innovate and make some of the right moves when it comes to Tekken 8 and future Tekkens. Again, Tekken 8's been in a really kind of tumultuous spot as of late, and they're really just kind of working to try and get back into the good graces of the Tekken community and making sure that the game is sound mechanically, actually fun to play, and that hopefully they can fix a lot of those really big mistakes that they made with that Season 2 update initially. But it's never a bad thing to have options, and who knows, maybe somewhere down the line there could be a collaboration between these two. I could totally see a Virtua Fighter character popping up in Season 3 of Tekken 8. Although I'm still holding out hope that Tifa Lockhart makes it into Tekken 8 one day. Again, if that were to happen, those are conversations that would have already taken place. This stuff is planned years in advance, and if it were to ever get announced and actually happen, it probably wouldn't take place until like late 2026, early 2027, somewhere around the time where they would start marketing Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 and use that as a promotional tool to maybe get some more people interested in the ending of the 7 Remake trilogy, but also get people interested in Tekken. We've got one Final Fantasy representative with Clive. If we could just get one more with Tifa, that would be an absolute dream come true. And hopefully if they do that, they can bring back Britt Baron. I love her voice work as Tifa. Hearing her portray Tifa in a Tekken game would be super sick. A dream come true. It may not happen, but I can keep dreaming. But with that being said, that is the video. Let me know in the comments down below, what was your favorite moment from this year's EVO 2025? Was there a specific match or grand finals that you were really into? Any character reveals? How are you feeling about Armor King, Virtua Fighter, Sea Viper's return? Let me know in the comments down below. I am Curious Corduroy. I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.